All right. Okay. Well, welcome to this wonderful screening of, hopefully you've all seen the shorts program, Relationships, in all its shapes and sizes, which are many. I'm Jennifer Morris. I'm here with SF Indie Shorts Fest, and I'm very happy to have the filmmakers with us here tonight, or today if you're watching it during the day. So I'm going to ask them one by one to introduce themselves and say who they are and what their film is and what they did with the film. So go ahead. Maybe in order. I don't know.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Juan.
My name is Juan Manuel Cabral, and I am the writer-director for A Weekend in July, and I have Sabrina Oro here, who is the lead in the short film.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll go next, I guess. My name's Sean Ryan. I'm writer-director of Realm of Unknowns, and just happy to be here and talk to everybody. And yeah, thank you.
And I'm Ryan Napier, and I acted and wrote and co-produced Last Words.
Hi, and I am John. Oh, sorry, I did unmute. My name is John Ebeling. I'm the writer-director of Lizard Brain, and this is my very helpful editor, Michaela, who edited it and did sound and video on it.
Fantastic. All right, I think that's everyone. Well, my first question is, what inspired you to do your short? And what brought you to wanting to tell this story, your stories, and just give us a little bit of the background of how these shorts came into being. We can go in the same order.
Okay.
So Juan, if you want to go.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, San Francisco Film Fest, for having us and for doing this. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I know because of quarantine and everything, we can't be there in person, but I think in the email that we received, it was awesome that you guys could actually expand and bring in more filmmakers in and have a platform for a lot more people. So I think that's pretty cool. To answer the question, for me, I feel like probably for most of us here, it was personal. The story, it was kind of out of the blue. A Weekend in July is a romantic drama about a relationship, two young in the early 20s, and it was very much personal and in the now for me. There's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out, but basically had to do with the relationship I was in, and I felt like it was something that had to be told. It was very relevant, and it's weird because my girlfriend in real life helped me make it, and she was like on set, and we did it all, and it's pretty interesting because then we're not together anymore, so then the story ends that way, kind of like ambiguous. So, and it was kind of her idea as well as Sabrina's as well, so that was interesting how it all worked out. But I'm very proud about how it came out. Had a really great team, cast and crew. Sabrina was one of the first people that applied for the role on Backstage, and she was very excited off the bat. So, I mean, that's always amazing, and to see that she's been like, to see who she is as a person and to get close to her and see how she works on set was an amazing experience. But it was definitely personal for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so for Realm of Unknowns, basically, I love exploring struggling relationships and human communication, what we say, what we don't say, and kind of transporting it into a world. So basically, I wanted to make a high concept, low execution. I really just wanted to get back behind the camera. So I started filming random things and having no idea what I would do with the footage. And again, kind of what Juan was saying, just having a lot of personal things, what I was going through in my life, and everything kind of just started filtering and falling into place. And then basically I wrote a feature script, and I was like, okay, it's a little too big, so changed a little bit of the narrative, condensed it to a short, and then just kind of let the ideas marinate for a couple months, and then basically just went out and did it. Small crew, obviously, and just want to explore things of dancing and just certain type of imagery, and out came the short, basically. So yeah, that's kind of how it originated for me.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. And yeah, amen to all of that. I love that development, Juan and Sean, how that parallels. For me, it's kind of a weird story. When I was in my performing arts program, there was a Black performer who went up in our class, and she did a monologue that had a lot of Black vernacular and kind of slang. And the critique was from the visiting professor was that it wasn't relatable enough, or she should have picked something with different vernacular because people wouldn't be able to follow that. And so basically he had no notes for her. And so I was like, what does it look like to write something that has Black vernacular? And I bet, what does it look like to make it universal? And love is universal, and everyone can relate with it, and relationships are universal. So I just kind of really wanted to write something with that to disprove him. And so I wrote that monologue. That's where it derived from. And then I kind of put a story around it because I just felt like it's possible for it to be done. And if it's something that everyone can universally relate to, regardless if that's the slang they use every day. Yeah.
All right. Well, mine was actually based off of a relationship I had, my ex-girlfriend, and it was basically about how you can, fight for someone even though they're wrong for you, and you can fight for them for the wrong reasons, and also about how, like, men have a history of not checking their mental shortcomings and mental health shortcomings, and when you just kind of ignore those issues, it really just kind of poisons your relationships around you, and poisons your choices. So I actually shot it with my real life ex, and then my current girlfriend, Michaela, edited it. So she's a saint. And that's how I came up with mine.
Fantastic. And well, you guys probably have an interesting story. I was going to say, do you have an interesting story in the filming of your shorts? People think it's short, making a short, but that's not always the truth. But if you have any memorable moments from or nightmares, whichever, from making your films, maybe you guys could start. Because you found each other.
Us? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I actually, yeah, I remember, like, the day that we shot at this place, which I used to work there before I got laid off as a server. It was like a burger place in West Hollywood, and the DP and I got there at like 7 a.m. before, like, we were shooting, and we both thought it, like, smelled like gas in there, and so we're like, what do we do? And so we just called the fire department just to ask, like, what should we do? And they're like, oh, just hang tight. And then we heard these loud sirens, and I just looked at my DP and I was like, do you think that's us? And he's like, I think that's us. And we walked out, and there were 2 huge, massive fire trucks, each with like 12 firemen on each of them. And they came in, and like right as they got there, right before they got there too, one of the kitchen staff came in early, and he's like, oh, you have to shut this off. And we're like, oh, okay. And then, like, right then we heard the sirens, and 2 dozen firemen came in, and they just thought we were so stupid. And that's probably the craziest thing that happened on ours.
Anyone else? Come on.
I know. Oh no, you go. For mine, it was spaced out. I know. I did. There were some, like, dream sequences. I shot those like June of 2019, and then some montages like July and August of 2019, and then I wrote it out. And then basically didn't actually start shooting then until May of this past year for 2 days. So it was kind of a long period of, again, like marination of everything. And it just was, nothing too crazy or anything, but it just helped with the actors. I can say, hey, this is what you're thinking about. This is what you're doing. So it was good for prep and everything. And then we just went out and did it, and it worked out pretty well. So.
Awesome. Ryan, I think you were going to say something, or Sabrina wants to say something.
No, go ahead, Sabrina.
You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Sabrina.
Ryan, if you want to go first,
No, you got it. You got it, sis. You got it.
No, all I was going to say is it was really hot.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, it was.
I remember we just had like this. So we were filming in Juan's family's apartment, and God bless his lovely parents who would just like go hide in their room. And we would all sit in like the living room, and then one of us would be filming in the bedroom, and we'd have like one fan for the entire room and like, sweating buckets and buckets and buckets. And then of course there was like a day where I had to run. It was just hot. That's my only, it was just very hot.
Yeah. I could if I could add on to that. I can't really. It was definitely hot, but for whatever reason, I don't remember it being that hot. I know we shot in like August, and our AC is busted, so that's why it was really hot in there. But I don't remember it. Like, I can't really think of one like memory or nightmare that we really had. It was kind of just like this 5-day like back to back kind of shooting thing. It was my first time kind of doing a project of this size.
You had a lot on your mind.
Yeah, a lot on my mind. But it was fun. Like the fact that like Sabrina and Alex and everyone, obviously the low budget, you don't really have the money to be able to pay everyone, although like that's what you want to do because they deserve it. But for them to like go back to back like day after day shooting in hot not the best conditions, it was just really fun experience, just like getting to know everyone, especially like Sabrina as well, like, and see how she works. It was a fun. I just see it as a fun experience for me.
No, it was just, it was a ball. It was
Yeah.
the best time. It felt like going to Disneyland every day. And then plus like Alex, who is my co-star in the film, he and I are close friends who went to drama school together. And so he's originally from Argentina, and he was just about to move to London. So he like came down and stayed with me for that week, and then left for London forever. And so like it was also like a really special time that like he got to come stay with me, and then we got to meet the whole crew, and then we all became really tight. So yeah, it was hot, but it was really fun.
That makes sense because you guys had such a good like rapport together. Like it makes sense that you guys knew each other because you really had like a good like energy.
No, thank you. It was really fun because he and I, we were good friends, but we never got like super duper close. And then really doing that project together is what cemented our friendship, cool. Which again was like really, really special because now he doesn't live in the country anymore, and it's been really delightful to now be able to keep in touch with him, and then also to have like other friends from the whole filming process, that's always the best part. Anyway.
So lucky we're still together after working on.
That's super dope. On our end, it was kind of like the hustle and bustle of filming in the sense of we filmed everything maybe in a collective amount of like 18 hours, so like 12 hours, and then a random spot up day of like 5 hours. So like it was kind of stressful because Joy, who played Keisha, she's on a show called Greenleaf, and she also does the soundtrack. So we had to, and Tosin, who played my brother, was on a show called Black Lightning. So basically, the one day we all found each other being in the same state, we like shot it that one day as soon as fast as humanly possible because everyone had a flight to catch. And then we had to come back, and we literally found another day. But then Joy got asked she does a soundtrack on her show. She's a singer. And so she had to be at a studio, she found out last minute in like 6 hours, and she had to prioritize that, obviously. And so we literally, those pickups, the little B-rolls and little inserts, we were like running to the part where we had a permit for PCH for that little beach set up. Then we drove to Hollywood where we had a little area. Then we were like, man, we about to be some one-take wonders out in these streets. And that's what we had to do for most of the time, because we were literally like, took like 3 people and we just were hauling it. And it just was so stressful. And I was like, man, are we gonna make it? And so I was grateful that we came out with it, because it was, yeah, it wasn't ideal. I won't ever do that again.
That's independent
You
cinema.
say that now.
I know.
Yeah.
Can I ask Ryan a question? Ryan, because I'm curious, since the way you're talking about all those people, did you guys all decide together to make something, or did you know each other before? Like, it sounds like they were all really trying to help you make this project. Like, was it a collaborative effort, or?
No. Well, we knew each other, so like,
Did you write the parts for them, or was it just coincidence, or?
Oh, no, I didn't write it for them, actually. I just had it generally written, and then kind of basically in a weird kind of turn of events. So I was doing a show in Scotland. I was doing a play, and then I was getting ready for tour, and Joy's husband, Joy and I, my wife, we're all friends, we're all tight, and her husband, and he's an attorney. And so he was like, hey, I also want to produce on some other film stuff. Can I like maybe produce with you? And I was like, oh yeah, totally. And then when I added him on, and he was like, can we just do this like right now? Like kind of pull this off really fast. And so I called like a friend from DPs, and then Joy really wanted to play Keisha. And then the director, Michelle, who was my god sister, she was on a show with Tosin. And so then I asked Tosin when I was filming something in Atlanta, because he was down there, and I asked him like, hey, I need you to play my brother real quick, man, help me out. And then he was like, I'm down if I'm free. And so then we just like, I don't know, put it together. So I guess yes and no. Like I had the script written and I was going to be looking for people, and then it just kind of organically happened, if that makes sense.
They seemed tailored to it. I think everybody, it just seemed like it was written specifically for everybody. You know, Juan, John, Ryan, the casting was fantastic throughout. When I was watching it, and I watched it in order from the email, I was like, my knowledge of just thinking like, oh yeah, it was written for them, because everyone just really played it off perfectly. And that, was huge. I think, it's the little things that just go the longest way. Yeah.
I'm super grateful at least on my end, on how it turned out, because I had people sending in tapes already before Joy knew she'd be free to even do it when she said she wanted. And then I was struggling with the brother thing, and I know some other actors, but just kind of, finding that chemistry was important. So, but when I saw Tosin, I was like, yo, I need you to do this. I just kind of knew. And it was really dope to see you guys' nuances in all of your films, that I just felt like you guys were all so intentional with pushing to your objectives. And like, it was really cool. I was watching it with my wife and then by myself for some of them. And it just was like, man, every time I would go back to show her what I had already seen, and she just like, man, everyone was so thorough, so intentional, and just so natural. And I love natural nuances in film. I feel like that's what's like missing now. So yeah, it was really dope to watch you guys.
That brings me to a question I wanted to ask. And I love shorts. And I always like to ask why you made shorts, why the short format, and what drew you to shorts. I mean, some people are making shorts hoping to make features, but what about short film do you love? And yeah, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's an easy one for me, I think. I guess shorts to features is my ultimate goal. Definitely, I think it's just such a great way to like find your voice. It's such a great way to exercise your muscles as a filmmaker. It doesn't require as much of big of a budget, but you can also still do the filmmaking techniques that you want to try out, and tell a story, a very impactful story still. So I think it's that sweet spot, the perfect spot to just exercise. It's like a muscle. You just gotta practice and make your connections there as well. But I really love just the grind of the filmmaking. Once you're in it, you're like, nothing else really matters, and I love that. And I think but for me it is eventually getting into feature films. But it's just a great way to to find your voice and to flex your muscle. Like that.
Yeah, it's a great way just to express yourself and see, like, okay, does a practical question is like, oh, would this work? Could I get away with this? Would I be able to get away with this in a feature length? But you can maybe get it away in a short. And watching a bunch too, in a row, I'm I loved everybody's, and I'm excited to watch what the rest of the festival has. And it just somehow, I think, can really just pack a punch, and you just get to see people's voices really just, from a 5 to 15, 30 minute, concept. I think it's just really fascinating, so I love shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having like one simple objective and just seeing if you just really drill that one objective, seeing, as Ryan was saying, talking about objectives, like what happens when you just really make one simple, clear choice and kind of play it all the way through. And I think that shorts really allow you to kind of simplify that way, and I really like that.
Yeah, and that's what I was feeling too. Yeah, it allows you to get to the point, and frankly too, on a business format, I actually believe over the next year or two, short form content is going to start being a lot more relevant and being picked up and licensed and things. So I just think it's a really cool direction to be in, because we don't have an attention span out here in America. So.
It's shrinking and shrinking. I know. I have teens. Oh my goodness. Well, since we have an editor, maybe you could tell us what it's like editing a short film, or your experience editing.
It's like a very wonderful challenge. Before that, I was mostly editing web series, and web series are a lot easier, and I feel like I get through them a lot faster because it's in pieces, and the arc is already done for you. And ideally, in a short film, the arc is already there for you, and you just have to follow the map. But I've worked on a couple short films where it's a lot of putting the puzzle pieces together, and trying to help the director make sure that their vision is really coming across. And so it's really special and really fun, is to feel like your voice is also getting in there as well, and getting to enhance the director's vision and their voice. And it's really fun. I love being collaborative, and the short film.
Sometimes you didn't like being so collaborative.
Come on. Like I said, we're lucky we're still together. That's one thing that I love about it, is the learning experience, and like helping me become more collaborative and helping me learn, because I'm also a director myself, so like taking on the role of an editor is having to be more in the back seat and give them and help their voice become the main thing. So that's exciting as well, to see the story from outside and to help shape that. It's like putting a puzzle together, and that's really fun.
And we have actors with us too, and maybe you can tell us a bit about your experience acting, and how it was acting for your directors or with yourself.
Oh, I'm waiting on Sabrina. You want to go, Sabrina?
I mean, I can. I'm not the only actor here, so.
Huh?
I'm just the only actor. I'm the only, I'm like the muggle in a group of wizards. Like.
Good tuning. You're so realistic and real and grounded.
Yeah.
That is so kind. Thank you so much.
And the space and the length
You
of the
only
scene,
act? That's like the only thing you do? Is that what you said?
No, I mean, in this film, I'm only.
In here. Okay, got
in this
it.
group.
Only an actor. I'll go first, and then I'll go quick, and then we'll hear from the people who have a million hats that they're wearing and are actually incredibly impressive. I'm so wowed. I can't. Anyway, I don't know. It was just a lot of fun. For me, Juan's really funny. I definitely was one of the first people to apply, but I was telling my mom, I was like, yeah, I was also definitely one of the most annoying people who applied. Because he posted it and he said something like, oh, I would like to have someone who understands this kind of relationship and who maybe knows someone who could play Oscar. And I immediately applied because at the time I was in a relationship with a man who was not very nice to me. And I really wanted it to work out. And the point is like, I felt like I really understood what this couple was going through. And where he and I were in our relationship was pretty much where Anna and Oscar were in his relationship. And I knew my friend Alex would be perfect for the role, and like the way our kind of friendship worked in our chemistry, I thought it could work well. And then also at the time he had a girlfriend who he was about to leave the country. So it's like, I know he gets it, I get it. This is gonna be great. And I was literally like, once I submitted and Juan was like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in you, maybe. Then I was like, how about now? How about now? So once it was like officially my part, I was absolutely thrilled. And my process was basically just reading it and thinking about it. And I talked a little bit about it with Alex, but mostly for me, it was sitting back and just kind of trusting that I knew what was going on and like focusing on doing less. There was a big exercise in doing less for me. So there we go. I would love to hear from our writer, actors, directors in the group.
You got the part, you destroyed it.
Yeah, she did.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you are a beast.
You could feel the nuance too in all the scenes, like something was brewing, and I just loved how everything was just playing out at its own pace, and you can really just, as an audience, just think about like where, you know, Oscar and Anna are coming from, and there's a lot going on in a very subtle way, which I thought was terrific, and I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, the poise was super dope because you started off the project was like brewing, and then it was awkward, and I'm like, damn, why the hell is it awkward? Like, I want to know why. But it was like you guys trusted your pace, and it was like that's what it was so thorough, and I just was like, man, this is so dope because like it kept me hooked. And then when it all exposed to why, I was like, oh wow, like it was really a treat.
I also like the A24 bumper sticker or something on there.
I saw that.
I was like, all right, I'm hooked.
First opening shot, I think.
I left that there on purpose. There's other stickers, and I left that one because it was like a little nod. I'm a huge A24 fan. But,
Totally.
Yeah, that's cool. You just picked that up. Cool.
Juan, I loved your setup of that relationship, man, because I just was like every little part. I was like, man, why would you gone all day? You gonna cook eggs and then you gonna leave the brother hanging all day, and then I just was so frustrated. I was like, come on, he's up here being vulnerable, and then I was like, oh no, you're the butthead, bro. Like, yeah. That switch up was really.
I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are saying like stuff about the pacing because it's like this is a long short film, right? Like this is 28 minutes long. So that was probably the biggest thing that was worried about the most. Because that, you know, like you said, attention spans are very short, and being a short film, you know, you kind of got to tell a story concisely in a short in a small package, right? So to hear that the 28-minute long short film works and that kept you hooked, I really appreciate that, and that's a true testament to Sabrina's performance and to like Alex, you know, to keep you, you know, wanting to hear more.
It's a testament to you, sir. You wrote it. You gave us a very clear outline, so take the credit, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Everyone. Thank you, Sabrina.
I have to ask you one. Is that the one fan in the background? Is that the one fan of the house?
This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it right here. This is what was keeping us cool during August in those 5 days right there. Yeah.
Well, we're well, we're not quite, but we're almost getting to our Zoom hour limit. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys, what's next? You know, what are your hopes for the short? But what are you working on next? Whether it's for the paycheck or for yourself, you know, what you guys have gotten in the hopper, the COVID hopper.
Yeah.
Someone
What,
start.
um,
What's next
Cameras on
for
them.
you?
Let's have
Not
Eddie say.
for me.
We're working on more shorts and stuff.
Yeah,
We've got
Uh-huh.
we're trying to take more control of our you know, we normally would have to hire DPs and stuff.
Oh, right.
So we're trying to figure out how to make an iPhone look beautiful. So we're
You can now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
moment lenses, all that crap.
Yeah, so we've
Yeah.
been using learning lenses and we're experimenting with the visuals on there, and we're hoping to make some projects on that and take more control because that's all we have available right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's exactly what I just did. You know, because I'm not a DP, but it's like me and a buddy. I took out an old camera that shoots on VHS. So we just
Is that what you used for the in between shots? Like the okay, like
the dream sequences
the
was
sequence shots and stuff? Yeah.
VHS, yeah, and then
Great.
basically
Wow.
nobody's doing
That was so pretty too.
Yeah.
So pretty.
And I love the
So
format, how the format was different too.
Yeah.
oh thank you, yeah. But yeah, kind of just doing that, taking what, you know, practical resources you have, and just it'll be me and a buddy doing it, and we just have to get a couple more shots, and it'll be like a 10-minute short. So just kind of working on that right now.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's super dope.
I'm working to possibly. I would like to get something done by the end of the year this year. So right now I'm actually casting, or have an open casting call for a short film, like a father-son drama dynamic, little short 9-page thing. But it's going to be a part of like a 3 short film kind of thing that I'm trying to do. I have no way of knowing how to get into the film industry. So one of my big plan is to make 3 short films within like the next 3-4 years or so, and to hopefully use those 3 as some kind of package deal, or like leverage in terms of getting like maybe a agent or some kind of representation or something like that. Again, I have no idea if that's gonna work, but like that's a route that I'm currently working on right now.
Some people are making web series, you know, they're just doing them short. Yeah.
On my end, we were fortunate to license Last Words a couple places. And so I'm working on some scripts I wrote for some short form content for some of those platforms. So hopefully it'll be shooting next year, see what COVID says. But, and then I'm working on some other indie shorts outside of my kind of contracts in those situations, just to kind of keep pumping and playing there. And just one other kind of cool project for like Quibi, just a little collaboration situation, but I'll be able to hopefully speak on it in a few weeks. But yeah, honestly, for sure, I want to make as much indie projects as kind of humanly possible, just because I just feel like we're really missing that. Everything's getting so commercial. And I understand the game of that, but I just am like, man, I gotta. And Sean, I didn't get the chance to say this to you earlier, bro. I was really obsessed with that color contrast with the red and the white on the beat, and I was like, oh, and the parallel and how they're on the same lane, but still so different and opposite. I just love that contrast, bro.
Well, thank you.
Sabrina, how about you? Do you have
I never know.
any roles coming up, or?
So at the beginning of September, actually, I like fell backwards into a little momentum pocket. Starting in March when everything shut down, I was supposed to go off and do a regional theater gig, and then theater exist at the moment. So then I got a company together and I did Zoom play. I filmed a web series that I've been editing over the last couple months. And then I finished the Zoom play. And then I booked a bunch of shorts back to back. And then I finally wrapped a feature I was working on this last year. And then now I'm just auditioning again. So that's life of an actor. So yeah, so if you're hiring, let me know. Act. Please and thank you.
Well, it's been really wonderful having you guys, and I wish we were all together in the theater. It would be so wonderful, but you know, COVID. But I hope that your next projects, you'll remember us and come back. We do this Shorts Festival, we do an Indie Fest, we do a Doc Fest, there's a Horror Fest, everything. But, and hopefully we'll be in a theater the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us.
Definitely, definitely. And also I'll remind our audience, vote. There are awards and you can vote. Vote. Yeah. It helps the filmmakers.
Yes, that's right.
It's great seeing you guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.